This is AHMED for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. We're in Las Vegas, joined by Ben Davison. We're going to do something slightly different today. I'm just going to hand you the mic because I know you do these Instagram stories where you've kind of documented Tyson Fury's journey of how it started, but I don't think everyone knows where you guys first met, etc., how it came about, the relationship, the working relationship, that is. I'll just clarify that with Tyson, and kind of the journey till now. So, yeah. Mike's yours, just tell me about it.
Well, I actually met Tyson, to be honest with you, before we actually started training together. Twice. I met him at a fight when I was with Billy Joe Saunders, and a little scuffle, or an argument, should I say, was breaking out. And a big old lump come over after trying to get involved, and I just remember Tyson coming over behind him and sticking it on this security guy. I think he said something along the lines of, "Take a step back or I'm going to smash your teeth down your throat," something along those lines. And the fella janked himself, and then that was that. And then I met him probably about a year later when Billy Joe boxed in Scotland against Arthur Akavov, and I had a good chat with him really then. And although he was obviously very clearly in a very low place at the time, he wouldn't stop talking about boxing. And I remember one day we had to go. He only brought one outfit with him. I don't think he had planned to come that early in the fight week or something like that. I can't remember exactly, but I tried to take him to go and get some clothes, but he was very big at the time, and it's hard for Tyson to get some clothes that fit him anyway, let alone when he was big and out of shape. But I remember when we was driving, he just kept talking about boxing and boxing and boxing and boxing, and it was. I thought, you love this sport. And as the week went on and more conversations went on and spoke more and more and more, I started to understand that he loved the sport, hated the business. And that was that really. And a few conversations went talking about training, and he'd asked me about a few questions and this, that and the other, but I genuinely didn't think nothing of it. Then a few months later, me and Billy Joe went over to Marbella, and Billy Joe phoned Tyson and said, and one thing that I always remember is Paris said to me that she will always appreciate and always remember that Billy Joe would always ring Tyson and try and get him back into the gym. And she said to me, I always appreciated that, blah, blah, blah. And Tyson obviously come over, and in my head I thought, he's not interested in doing no training. And the first day, I think the first session we went to do a run, and I'd said to him, he was obviously, like I say, he was big at the time, and I think I said to him, why don't you go on the cross trainer or the bikes? It's less impact, less intense, but you're still burning some calories, etc. He said, nope, I'm going to run with you boys, but it'll have to be a little bit slower. And he did the run. Fair play to him, there and back. And in the evening, we'd done a boxing session. I remember wrapping his hands. I remember getting in the ring. And I remember taping his gloves up. And I remember, as I was breaking off the tape, I could feel the, excitedness, like a kid, where he was excited to hit the pads. It had obviously been a long time since he'd done a bit of training. And I knew that the love for the sport was still there. And he was really enjoying his week's training and listening, and I remember because I'd said to him about not just being wary of the intensity that he was training at. He didn't need to be training intensity as long as he was doing something and burning calories. The weight would gradually come off, and I remember him saying to me, listen, that's the right advice, I know, but he just wanted to keep going and going and going, more and more and more. And he enjoyed it, and through that 10 days, I think it was, he he started mentioning, half joking, half meaning it, about working together, and then he said to me about being his trainer, and I said to him, I remember thinking at the time, I don't want to put pressure on this person. I don't want to say yeah and him feel like there's pressure. And I said to him, look, there is no pressure. If you want to carry on, we'll carry on working day by day, week by week, and see how we go. And the plan was that we was going to go home. Tyson had to sort a few things out and come back. And for whatever reason, it didn't quite work out like that. But we stayed in touch, and I remember a few times he tried to get back to Marbella, but not for training. Just for a little bit of a holiday, and you know, he went away a few times on his camper through that, and we was talking, and then he either deleted WhatsApp or changed his number, I can't remember. And then he randomly messaged me one night when I was in the gym, and he said, he was just like, sorry, he went to Monaco. He went to...
Matchroom show, right?
And there was plans to start doing a bit of training at the time. And then he wasn't well, and then he just randomly messaged me. He was like, are you ready? And I was like, what do you mean, are you ready? And he was like, I'm ready. Like, when can we start? And at the time, I had somebody that was supposed to be boxing on a bill, but I was taking him up to spar with Tony Bellew in Sheffield. So I said, look, I'm up there 3 times a week. I'll drive from Sheffield to Manchester. We'll meet 3 times a week. Start doing 3 times a week boxing session. So we started doing that, and I've still got the pictures on my phone and some of the videos actually from the first few sessions. And I just thought, look, my job right now is just to make him fall back in love with boxing. If he enjoys his boxing and he's still and keeps it up and enjoys his training and he's consistent with it, he's going to be burning calories. And if he's burning calories, the weight will gradually come off. But if he wasn't enjoying his training, he wasn't going to keep it up, you know? So that was my main goal at the beginning. And then the fight fell through, so I said to him, look, the fights fell through, and straight away he said, look, would you be able to move in with me? And at the time, to be honest, it's very strange, because if it had been that, it was like perfect timing, because if it had been a couple of months before, I probably wouldn't have been able to commit. And I'm sure that people that have read his book will know a little bit more, that probably, I don't know, probably from about a year before, I was suffering with depression a bit myself, nothing on the level of Tyson's, and I remember always asking myself, why am I being put through this, was sort of my mindset. And to be honest with you, helping Tyson through his and having that job and it being such a big task helped me, without him knowing it, helping him, you know? And just timing, like I say, was perfect. And God works in mysterious ways. I always say that. God doesn't make mistakes. And so, yeah, he was like, can you move in? So the Sunday I drove up there, and I remember knocking on the door, and it was like, oh yeah, Paris answered, I think. She's like, oh yeah, and I remember a little bit of a funny look, and only a few months ago did she say to me that Tyson had not told her until like 5 minutes before I got there that I was moving in. She was like, she told me, she said, I was like, who's this stranger? But it was good, straight away I was made very, very welcome. I remember the first morning Paris made some I think it was an omelette, but it was like a 6-egg omelette, and I was like, oh, stuffed. And Tyson at the time, he was on a ketogenic diet, and that was it really. Me, Tyson, and his best friend Dave Ray. Every day, me and Tyson go to the gym in the morning. In the evening, me, Tyson, and Dave Ray go to the gym and do the boxing session. And obviously at the beginning it was tough, and Tyson was on a ketogenic diet, so sometimes, you know, I might have something in my head to say, right, yeah, we'll do this tonight. Get there, and his energy levels were low, and I'd have to change it. And it, you know, sometimes it could be a slog, and sometimes he was up and down with his mood. So sometimes it'd be very easy to get him going, and some days it was harder. And some days, in all honesty, I'd look across and think, I don't know if this job is possible. It was. I knew it was a tough task, mentally and physically. And what people have seen the transformation physically is, I've said it before, probably 5% of it. The mental transformation has been unbelievable. And so we was doing that. And in my head, I'd said to Tyson that, look, it'd be good to get over to Marbella. And I knew that the good weather, the little bit of break, and having his family with him, the little bit of a break, what I mean is a little bit of a break in between sessions where you're not sat at home. And I could see and read that when he was in between the sessions, he was like, a lot of travellers are like it, they can't sit still, they always got to be doing something. And I knew that if Tyson was in Spain, even if it was just going for a walk in the nice weather. So one morning we got up and we went to go for a run, and Tyson, before this in the morning, he was like, what are we going at? What would we need to go over there for? And blah, blah, blah. And so we woke up one morning. I went home Christmas Eve and come back Boxing Day, and we went to do a run in the morning, and the kids were screaming, and I want to come. So Tyson was like, okay, get the scooters and you can come. And anyway, so we set out, and he lives right along the sea. So the wind's blowing, rain smashing us in the face, the kids' scooters are broken. We got 5 minutes up the road, and I was like, look, this is why, you know, we need to get over there. And he was like, moaning and groaning. And in my head I was thinking, if we don't get over there, this is going to be twice as hard. And a few minutes went by, and he turned around, right, booked it, we're leaving tonight, or it was something like that. And I was driving. I was like, driving? What do you mean driving? He said, yeah, and I remember him saying to me, now don't worry, because the hardest part of the drive is going to be in England, but don't get stressed out, don't worry about it, because once we get past that, plain sailing. So I thought, okay, no problem. Woke up in the morning, Tyson's brother Huey and his wife came, so I was in the car with them, and we started driving down, and thinking about, there was bad traffic, and I remember thinking, right, Tyson told me this is going to be the worst part. He phones, the kids are screaming, wow! He was stressed out, let's just turn around, and no, let's keep going. Then we got to the Eurotunnel. It was like 5 minutes later than what was supposed to be to get through, so they wasn't going to let us through, but we managed to sort that out, got through the other end. I remember that night we pulled into a petrol station, and Tyson said, look, in the morning we're going to go to Disneyland. We'll all go to Disneyland, we'll have a good time, and we'll just forget about it and go back. And I was like, no way, it's not happening. And then I think Yui must have said to him, look, let's go to the hotel and sort it out. I got to the hotel and I was thinking, that's it, that was it. He said to me, I'll give you your money, what it is, boom, I'm sorry. And I remember getting to the hotel, and I had the raving ump, and Tyson said, what's up with you? And Yui said to him, obviously he's got the ump, like he's come here to do a job and blah blah blah. And I said to Tyson, listen, it's not about me getting me money and going home and lovely, you know, it's more than that. We started this journey together, and I want to succeed it. And by this point, I've lived with him. Do you know what I mean? Lived with his family. I've seen him in good days with his family, seen him in bad days with his family, and seen the difference between a good day and a bad day. And I'd said to myself, hand on my heart, I'd said to myself, if this man doesn't box again, as long as I can get him back happy again, that'll be a success. That's what I said to myself. And that was a challenge. That was the challenge, and I wanted to succeed in that. So, you know, we had a conversation, explained it, woke up in the morning, carried on the journey. And I remember the sun hit Tyson's car, and within 30 seconds he rang through to our car, which was just behind. I can't wait to get over there and it's going to be great. And I was like, oh my God, this is a lunatic. And we got over there and it was a success. It was a success. Tim come over, Tim Alcock, and there was Matthew James, and like I say, Tyson's best mate Dave and his family and his kids are great friends with Tyson's kids, and there was quite a few of us over there. And it was brilliant. Got a load of weight off, and it was a huge success. And I remember the first time I saw and thought there's something different about Tyson was when I said one morning we're gonna do Istan, but walk up Istan. He was like, yeah, no problem. And every morning before the run, we'd pull up and get a coffee. So we'd done that. Pulled up, got a coffee. Pulled up to the bottom of the mountain. Tyson gets out. I remember him half loosening himself up. And I'm thinking, what's he doing? Going for a walk? And bang, starts jogging. And in my head, I thought, 2 minutes here, stop. Big hill, right at the beginning of it. And I thought, he'd get halfway up that and go, cough. Anyway, gets up there. I'm thinking, 5 minutes more. 5 minutes goes by. I'm thinking, another 5 minutes. Then I'm thinking, nah, he's going to stop. He's going to stop. Just kept going. And when he got to the last little part, he starts sprinting. And I thought, this man's off his head. Then we got to the finish and I was like, listen, stop now because you're going to end up hurting yourself. This is it. Like, this, everybody stops here. More than enough. No, if this is where everyone else stops, then I'm going to keep going. And he ran right to the top, right to the very top. And he was still very big at the time, on a ketogenic diet. And I thought, whoa. Come back down, then there was a... I can't remember what it is. It's a... It might be a St. Joseph, like, portrait thing. Or something like that. Anyway, there's some stairs. So Tyson's racing everybody up the stairs and dancing and singing, and I thought he's off his head. Marbella was a success. Come back, and while he's through Marbella, there was a lot of stress with the business side of things, which was making him up and down with his moves, to be honest with you, especially on the morning run. On the morning run there, he could be saying one thing, and on the morning run back, he could be saying another thing. And I was thinking, listen, we're here to do it the right way. And I remember one day, actually, it's just come back to me. One day we sat around the dinner table and all this, very stressful for him, all this organising the business side of things. And one day I didn't agree with what he was saying. And I don't know if he was saying it just to try and wind me up or whatever. But I got up and walked off into my room. And he must have said to Paris, what's up with him? I think Paris must have said to him, well, obviously, do you know what I mean? He wants you to do the right thing, not, do you know what I mean? The wrong thing, basically. And he came, what's up with you? And I said to him, this is what's up with me. I want you to do it the right way and blah, blah, blah. And he just laughed and I laughed at him. And it was, in the end, it was a success. And he obviously done the deal with Frank. Then we went into the Village Hotel in Manchester, Ashton, to prepare for the first fight. And the first fight was more so about the event, to say Tyson's coming back rather than the actual fight. We knew that by the opponent that Frank gave, and
BT debut as well.
And the BT debut and all the rest of it. And to be honest with you, Tyson wasn't nowhere near 100% mentally for that. I remember one day being in a hotel and I'd started putting on a bit of weight because I was literally with him 24/7, and if I left him for a minute, he was like, "Where's Ben? Where's Ben?" And I remember one day I said to him, "Right, everything's packed. I've got everything. All you need to do is get yourself up, leave here in an hour, and I'll meet you at the gym." Yeah, yeah. So I went to the gym to try and do a little bit of training myself before training him. Got through the door. 5 minutes later, Tyson walks through the door. Whee! I was like, oh my God. I needed him to rest, but he just couldn't, had to be doing something all the time and keep himself occupied all the time. And so, yeah, he had the first fight. And the first fight was a good step in the right direction. And mentally, he was a bit more balanced after that. And then I went home for about 5 days, come back and he had the press conference for the Windsor Park date. Did that one. And back into the hotel. Started training at Tyson's house for the first week or two. And he dropped another big bit of weight between Sefa and Pianetta. And we moved back into the hotel, and it was another step in the right direction. But he lost a lot of weight in a short space of time between them two fights, and he could feel the effects of it, and I knew that and could see it. But he come in at a weight that he wanted to come in at. And it was, the whole time the goal was against Pianetta to get the 10 rounds, and obviously during this period, talk of the Wilder fight was coming up and that. And me, Tyson's dad, and everybody was sort of saying, look, actually I spoke to you straight after the Pianetta fight, didn't I? And I said to you, look, obviously in an ideal world we'd like a few more fights. And I said to Tyson, honestly, I'd always give him an honest opinion. And I said to him, look, it's not that I don't believe that you can't win that fight. I believe that you can win that fight, but I believe that you're making it a harder fight and making it a little bit more even percentage-wise, taking it now than in a couple of fights' time. Especially bearing in mind I knew that it took a big chunk of weight off between those two fights. And I knew he needed a bit of time to recover, and they was trying to get the date for November 16 or something like that. And I said, we need to push it back, and the best they could do was December the 1st, so it just gave him that little bit more time to recover. And then again after that fight, it was another step in the right direction, mentally I'm talking about. And then obviously in preparation for the Wilder fight, we done the press tour, great fun, and he smashed the press tour with Wilder, didn't he? To try and challenge him on the mic, you're gonna be in trouble. So did that. Then we went over to Big Bear to start training camp, and it was difficult. It was very difficult. I'm not an amazing runner, but I'm not a bad runner. And I remember thinking, to be honest with you, I thought to myself, altitude. What's altitude? What a load of nonsense all this is. And so Tyson done 10 rounds on the pads on the Sunday. I think we got there on the Saturday or the Friday, and we done 10 rounds of pads on the Sunday, just in the house, just for a little workout. The Monday morning, I think it was, we did a run, and I remember we did a boxing session. And then when we did the first run, I remember thinking, oh my God, 5 minutes, I was like, and I thought, this is serious here. Anyway, so from that point, I'm looking a lot more in depth of detail, like how altitude works, the best ways to go about it, how long for, etc., the best type of training, and all the rest to maximise it. Anyway, with all that, it seemed the best was like a 3 to 4 week period. So we started off a few weeks sparring with Joe Joyce and Guido Vianello over there, but for Tyson, Tyson's a very go through the gears, take a walk, touch, feint, then explode into something, pop, walk off, up and down in tempo. But the problem was when you was raising the tempo, your heart rate was raising, your breathing rate was raising, but your breathing rate wasn't coming back down, so you wasn't able to go up and down through the gears.
That's why you moved camps.
So, yeah, but there was more to it because Shane come over and we was training, and we was talking about moving, and Tyson was like, no, not moving. But I'd said to the boys, listen, I don't care what he says, like, we need to organise something else. We need to move back down to sea level. So we went and done a session at sea level, which he felt good at and was sharp, and done a good session there, and pushed himself in that session, to be honest. And it was good. And come back up, and I said to the lads, listen, we need to sort something out. So we sorted it and didn't say nothing to Tyson, to be honest with you. And then
how did that go down?
Yeah, it didn't go down well. He didn't like it, but in his head, he knew it was the right thing to do. But to him, he likes that challenge of pushing himself and that I'll keep going and going and going and going, but that's not always best. More isn't all. Sometimes less is more, as everybody knows. So we moved back down and obviously into wildcard, and spirits lifted after that. Session started to get a little bit better, but he was still, he'd lost a hell of a lot of weight in a short space of time. Was fatigued throughout that training camp. And one thing I'd learned by this point was it was very different working with a heavyweight to somebody at a small weight who has to make weight. When you have a fighter that has to make weight towards the end of a training camp, you have to leave a bit in the tank for the weight cut for fight week. You can't really exhaust them. Then they have to go for a weight cut. They're not going to recharge their batteries in time. With a heavyweight, you can sort of really push them in towards the end of the camp and then give them a complete full rest because they've not got to do a weight cut. So that was sort of what we did with Tyson there. And he, in the space of 9 days, 8 days, whatever it was, 10 days even, I can't remember exactly when we stopped. I got it on my phone when we stopped. He had his last bar. But he really recharged his batteries. And fight week, I saw another step. I thought, this man's something else mentally. Because I tell you what it was, he was realistic. He was realistic yet confident. And fight week, I started to notice Wilder was saying things that wasn't true, trying to convince himself of things that wasn't true to build confidence. Tyson was confident yet realistic, saying, listen, if I get it flush, chance I'm going over. But I'll be getting straight back up, don't worry about that. And I'll do it in this manner, and I'll do it exactly like this. And because he'd prepared himself mentally 1,000 times, if this is to happen, this is what I'll do. No situation could faze him. And that's what training camps are for. That's what going away for training camps are for. Because you can train in this bedroom. But going away and being only around boxing and focused on the threat of a challenge makes you go through that. You run through every scenario. Okay, if this happens and if this happens and if that happens. So by the time you get in a ring, there's no situation that can faze you because you've seen it 1,000 times over in your mind.
Is that why you got up?
I believe so. Not saying just that training camp, but Tyson's always said that you'll have to nail me to the canvas. You'll have to nail me to the canvas. You'll have to nail me to the canvas. And I think subconsciously he's built into his mind that no matter what happens, I'm getting up. That's what I believe anyway. And the help of God, of course, to give him the strength, to give him the mental strength. Tyson got up, but, his faith has given him the strength that he's needed throughout this whole comeback, the whole of it, throughout his whole journey. But yeah, that was when that shocked me because I thought he's 100% ready, 100% ready, and I remember in the corner the first shot through, and I thought, oh, that was quick with Wilder. I thought the speed, but Tyson was like he was in the Matrix, shum shum shum. And I remember thinking, ping, 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 and I thought, right, we're on song here. And I was about to go into tactics there, but I'm not gonna. And what we'd been working on was coming into fruition, and then the round started to go by, and everything was good. And round 9 coming, I thought, although I could see he was clear because he joked as soon as as soon as he sat down, he joked with the thing, and but I thought to myself, fuck, because I thought Wilder is a serious finisher, and there was a lot of time left in that round, and I thought this is going to be a real telling moment, and Tyson got through it well, and didn't look troubled at all straight away like in the first 30 seconds. Wilder come in, missed a couple of shots, Tyson clamped him, tied him up, broke free and started pushing him back. And I thought, we've got this here, good round. Then he really come on, really come on in the next couple of rounds. And I just think that as the rounds went on, where Tyson was that comfortable, I just think that he got a bit too comfortable. He got a bit too comfortable. Obviously, the shot clipped him on the back of the ear, the first shot, and the back leg gave way. Then I think it just shows, because straight after, with all that time left in the round, Wilder couldn't do nothing. Then the next round, Tyson was switched on because he thought, well, there's still a threat here, and he picked his game back up, not getting complacent, and dominated the next few rounds. Round 12 come, and I knew he was ahead on the cards. There was no way he wasn't. And I'd said to him, just steal this round. Because I'd seen, if you watch when Wilder, the finish, is it the finish? No, sorry, it's the first knockdown with Ortiz. Actually, and the shot that sets up the finish against Ortiz in the first fight. Wilder was on the back foot, let them run in. Spilker, Wilder was on the back foot, let him run into it. And I could see by his poise and his posture, that's what he was trying to do. And that I was saying to Tyson, just touch him when he's there. Do not commit. And he stepped in, bang, with a big 1-2, and Tyson took a step back, and obviously Wilder stepped in with that 1-2. Now, when he went over, I thought to myself, I thought that was it, and I'll tell you why. Because when a fighter's potentially gonna get up, something is moving. Their hands, their foot, their head, or something. There's a bit of movement. He was still. And I was like, fuck. I was getting mad. And then I got in a row with the commission, and by the time I come back round, he was up on his feet. And I was thinking, I need to have a look here, because it was a heavy knockdown. And like I said, Wilder's a formidable finisher. I need to have a look. So as I'm trying to have a look, the commission's wrestling with me, and I'm thinking... But I was also aware that Jack Reese was a very experienced referee, and I thought, I'm hoping that he should be able to make the right decision if need be. Anyway, bang, Tyson takes a big left hook, bang, clamps him, good, gets a bit of space. I'm shouting, hold him. What does Tyson do? Puts his hands behind his back, slip, misses a right hand, I think, or misses a left hook, and then clips him with a right hand, and a big left hook, bang, wobbles Wilder, and then Tyson's pushing him back. And then I knew, listen, the knockdown, that was it. We wasn't claiming that round back. And I was still, listen, the reality of it was I was still sure that we'd won that fight. And ding, 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 the bell goes, and I looked over, and somebody that I highly respect in boxing, Paulie Malignaggi, I went straight over, what have you got? He said to me, 9-3. I looked at BT Sport, they said the same thing. And I looked at Floyd Mayweather, I said, what have you got? Who do you think? Or something like that. And he pointed at Tyson like, easy.
Senior or junior?
Junior. Easy, pointing at Tyson. I was like, yeah, we're all on the same wavelength here. Got the job done. And then I heard a whisper, a draw, before the scorecards come out, and I thought, that can't be right. And obviously it was a draw. I was fuming, and obviously everyone knows the rest, and Tyson stayed calm and, you know, practically prevented a riot. And then went home. I went to Orlando for a couple of weeks. That was all good. And then we went over to 1st of January. We all went over to Marbella to start preparing for potential rematch. And then the ESPN deal situation come about. So that was good. But at first, Tyson was a little bit wary as well. He was a little bit like, you know, yeah, he was a little bit, you know. But he's always like that. He's always extra careful, Tyson, extra wary, and it takes a little bit of time for him to put his trust into people and somebody and all the rest of it. So, and then obviously there was Tom Schwartz, that US debut. It was a good training camp. We done half of it in the UK with Billy Joe, and then half of it in Vegas. And he put on a dominant display there. Then Otto won him, and here we are today. And to see now, like the time that he's spending, the ways looking after himself. Not like, I'm not saying that like he couldn't look after himself before. I don't mean it like that. But the way that life's about the decisions that you make, and he's making the right decisions now. Like, he's keeping himself busy. He's doing something. He's doing it positive. And before it was very, why this? What's this for? What's that for? What's this about? What for, like, why, and what's the point? And you know, at the beginning. Now it's like, I don't know. Now you can see that he's got a purpose and feels like he's got a purpose, and even if he's not in a training camp, he's keeping himself busy and doing things, and you know, he's being inspiring with the mental health and spending time with his family, seeing him on the WWE when he had all his family over there, and that, it was brilliant. It was really, really good for me to see. I really enjoyed to see that, because, like I said, I'd seen when they was at a low point. Now it affected everybody, and I've seen now where they are now. Do you know what I mean? And it's good to see. Very good to see.
Picking up on the sort of depression, mental health thing side, I didn't know you suffered depression. You said it was a much lower scale to Tyson. So just talk to me about that, and when that was and what you went through.
That was probably just about a year before I started working with Tyson, and it's hard to explain. I couldn't tell you why that happened. Lots of things. I couldn't tell you why at the time, but I can tell you why now. God put me through that to be able to understand and read the signs, so I could see things with Tyson, because I can read him like a book. And I know how to deal with him, how to keep him balanced, and that is the kit. That is a big part of it, you know, a big part of it. I'm a boxing trainer. That is my job, but with Tyson, I have to be a lot more than just that. You know, it is a massive part of it. A massive part of boxing is getting the mind right. And Tyson's got a very powerful, wide mind. And it needs channeling. And as you've seen previously with him, with the I'm not going to say the wrong people around him, because that's not the right way to describe it, but with the wrong, what's the word I'm looking for? Put into the wrong direction can be very dangerous for Tyson, because he's got a mindset of, he's an extremist. So if he's low, he's very low. If he's high, he's very high, and he's keeping him balanced. And but you can't take that away from him, because it's a big strength of his as well. Because like I say, we'd go in the gym and he'd say, I can chuck that over this building. I'd say, no, you can't, and he'd have to do it, you know, just to prove, you know. And that's the mind that he's got. But I know and can read when to say, if I want him to do it, I know what to say, and if I don't want him to do it, I know what to say, you know. And that's just because, you know, I spent 24/7 with him for a very, very long time, so I know how he's thinking, and I can understand him and read him. And I'm not a good judge of character, although I think that I am a good judge of character. I'm good at understanding people, I think, and reading people, and I think, you know, that's a big part of why I've been able to do not a bad job with him, you know.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of go back to the start, and whether people like you as a boxing trainer or not, in terms of what you get your fighters to do in the ring. I think it's important to highlight the story, basically, of you being a massive part of why Tyson's still alive. And I'm just going to put it bluntly, and you must be proud of that. more than anything, what he's done with Wilder, getting back in the ring in the first place with Seferi, potentially having another fight with Wilder, you know, becoming undisputed champion again, whatever. He's been at the top of the sport with Klitschko. So your proudest achievement, I'm guessing, must be the fact that he's still alive.
Yeah, 100%. And listen, reflection can be a tough thing, but it's a beautiful thing. And when you look back at where he was, it's very easily forgotten if you look at him now, because he's in shape. You know, he looks well. Not as good as me, but he looks well. No, I'm joking. He looks well. You know, he's happy, he's smiling all the time, and he's flying, as he says. He's flying, isn't he? So, you know, it's hard to look back and resemble. He put a picture up. He put a picture up of him stood next to the case of the belts, and he was in a jacket. And I thought to myself, fuck me. It don't even look like the same man. If you put that man next to him, I thought it wouldn't. And that picture there said to me, we've done it, you know. Although, listen, just to get him back in the ring, trust me, there were so many sessions where me and John was there, and John would say to me after, I don't know how you do it. I do not know how you do it, because he was in one of them moods where he was very, very hard to deal with. And it'd be very, very tough just to get through the session and get him through a session. And, you know, me and John would sit there at night and talk about it and things, and, you know, it was tough. So to get him back just in the ring, that alone was a massive achievement. So what he's done now is like, listen, there's no two ways about it. It's a miracle. Put it that way. It's nothing short of a miracle. And like I say, when I saw that picture of him in that jacket, I thought, smashed it. And then when he put the picture up, he put a picture up of, I think he was in Orlando or LA with the family. And I thought, yeah. I just thought, that's it. You're top of the mountain.
Well, listen, I think I'm going to leave it there. We've done nearly 50 minutes.
Seriously?
50 minutes, yeah. So we will do another like 10-15 minute one in the week on Billy Joe, on Wilder Ortiz, of course. Maybe talk about potential stuff going on for Tyson. We know he's got his hands in every part at the moment with the book just been released, Robbie Williams single, which he's done.
Brilliant
training,
book as well.
yeah. UFC training. What did you make of that video with Darren Till?
I'll tell you, it looked dangerous, but it was no shock to me, because when I was talking about when we went over to Marbella to get the big chunk of the weight off. When we went over there, he kept saying to me, "Yeah, I've done kickboxing training." I was thinking, sure you have. Anyway, he got in there, started kicking the shit out of everyone. I was thinking he has and all. Anyway, then he said, he started sparring with a couple of them in there, like kicking and punching and all the rest of it. Obviously, he weren't giving it to them, but he was moving them around, do you know what I mean? And in the end, he done like 2 rounds with about 20 people. 2 rounds each with 20 people, you know? And, yeah, so I knew he could do it. And then watching that the other day, I thought, but listen, I don't know what I'm looking at, to be honest, when it comes to MMA. I couldn't tell you if he's any good or not, but I'll
be terrible.
Yeah, I'll trust Darren, but he looked pretty good. The elbows were decent anyway. And yeah, I'm sure Darren Till will know if he's any good or not.
Well, all right. Ben Davison, thank you very much for sort of revisiting the whole journey with Tyson.
Listen, there's 1,000,001 more stories there. 1,000,001. Some unbelievable stories. And you can't go through them all, and you can't have them all in your head at once, but...
Well, maybe you can release your own book one day.
Yeah, you never know, but listen, it's there's been a, and as well, I always say this, and I don't want it to be forgotten, that there's been a whole team effort put in there, you know, and that's just my side of it, you know, everybody that was involved there in terms of his family, his brothers, his dad, his wife, his kids, everybody's going to have their own story, and, you know, everybody's played their part, you know, from Asgi, who's worked with Tyson for a long time, Christian, who's worked with Tyson since before Klitschko, and Timmy, you know, even little things when, you know, Tim's silliness sometimes has changed the whole mood and the rest of the day, and things like, you know, everybody's played their part, and it's been an honour and an amazing journey to be a part of.
Well, God bless Tyson wherever he is at the moment. God bless you, Ben Davison. As I said, thank you very much for your time. We'll do a more boxing orientated one later on in the week, and see you around in Vegas.